Hey everybody, welcome back to another Flash recap and review. Today we're talking about Season 6, Episode 2, called A Flash of the Lightning. If you have not seen this episode, do not watch this video, it's full spoilers. So go watch it on cwtv.com and then come back here. All right, let's get into it. So this was a very eventful episode and it's a lot of build-up as we can see leading into Crisis, which is really great. And so there's about like 3 major storylines going on in this episode at the same time. The first one being Barry trying to figure out what is the crisis, what's going to happen. So he tries to go to the future, but he's unable to run past this antimatter wall. So he gets help from Jay Garrick and his new girlfriend, who is Barry's mom's doppelganger. That was an interesting twist. And instead of trying to go there physically to the future, he goes in his mind. Like his mind is being sent using this machine that also uses Jay Garrick's old helmet, right? And that was really cool. But what really shook me this episode was seeing the vision of the future. We see Ralph, Caitlin as Killer Frost, and Cisco as Vibe running away from like this giant energy surge thing that like swallows them up, and then we see Iris get swallowed up. And then we also see a flash, we see a image of Barry running and kind of disintegrating as he's running, kind of similar to what happened to him in the comics Crisis event. And earlier actually multiple times in the series, which would be Elseworlds last time, where he and Kara kind of burned up as they were flying, running. And then way back in season 2, the same thing happened with his time remnant. So I guess in a way they were kind of like hinting at this throughout the series. But as of right now, it seems like it's a definite thing that he's going to disappear, which is pretty crazy. And so we also get to see like how he reacts to that and like how it shakes him to his core. And he almost was like, there's no point anymore. I know I'm going to die. I have to die. I have to sacrifice myself. And then you see everybody else kind of talk him out of it like, no, we can't do that. You can't just give up. You have to keep fighting. I thought that was a really good theme for this episode. And it was great character development for Barry, Iris, and Joe. Like seeing them all working together. And what's even more crazy about it is that right now, Iris and Barry are the only ones that know what's coming. Everybody else is still pretty much in the dark and they're just going about their lives as if nothing's gonna happen. So it's kind of interesting to see how Barry is taking things compared to everybody else, where like, there are moments where everybody else is happy and smiling and laughing, but then he kind of just stops and he's just thinking like, man, stuff is about to get crazy. So I feel like that was a really interesting aspect to this episode, and I think it was personally the most interesting story. And then the next storyline we have is with Cecile trying to prove the innocence of this girl, Allegra Garcia. Also, if you see me looking down, it's because I have notes this time, because last time I forgot some things that I wanted to mention. So Allegra Garcia, who has the power to control waves, like all types of waves, and she's being framed for the murder of this guy. And all the evidence points towards her, but Cecile uses her powers of empathy to look at her feelings. And according to Cecile's powers, this girl is innocent and she's trying to cover up for the real person who did it. So I thought this storyline was really well done too, because we also get to see Iris, Ralph, Cisco, like everybody working together to try and solve this case. I thought that was really great. Gave everybody their own time to shine. And it's also really great for Cecile's character because it gives her more to do, because sometimes I feel like she's just there with everybody else. She occasionally gets things to do, like with DeVoe, her powers were useful like in stopping him, but there's other times where she is just kind of there, right? And then actually, she kind of filled in Joe's role when he was gone, when Jesse Martin was gone. But otherwise, I feel like she doesn't really get to do that much on her own. And so this was a great story for her. And then it leads into her deciding that she wants to be a defense attorney for metahumans, which I think would be an interesting storyline for the rest of the season. Because again, it gives her something to do, gives us a new perspective, gives us a new angle to the whole metahuman politics of Central City. Another great thing about this storyline is that we get to see the introduction of another villain, Esperanza Garcia, who is the cousin of Allegra, who was also there when she got hit with the particle accelerator wave, right, the dark matter energy. And so that twist was really good because apparently they have the exact same powers, the exact same tattoo. So like it was very easy for this witness to say, yes, this was the girl, but really it was her cousin. And we see her attack Central City Police Department, which, by the way, gets wrecked so much. Like, how is this place still standing? We've seen countless metahuman villains attack this place, and these police get whooped. Like, it's just destruction all the time, yet this place is still standing. So kudos to them. But it was interesting to see another villain come up, right? But they also mentioned that she was sent by a secret organization. And that leads me to the next point, the villains. I think this season might go in a very different direction with villains, because we have Bloodwork, who was in this episode, and he was in the last episode, but he wasn't really doing much yet. But it looks like in the third episode, he may have more to do. But then there's now also a secret organization that they mentioned. And then last episode, there was also the imposter Godspeeds. And we don't know who sent them, who's creating them, where are they coming from? Are they coming from the future? Like, I feel like maybe they're setting up multiple villains for the season, which I think would be really great because as we saw in season 5, some villains aren't sustainable for a whole season. So I think it would be really interesting to see how they can maybe do arcs, you know, like not a whole season for one villain, maybe break it up into smaller segments so that the stories are like maximize the interest and the quality of each story rather than trying to stretch out one story way too far. I think that's the best approach. And so hopefully that's what they're doing. But again, they mentioned these things and then you don't hear about them again. So we'll see. Again, this is only episode 2, so it's really hard to say where this is all going to go. But we'll see. And then the third story of this episode was Killer Frost trying to live her normal life, which again, I had doubts about, but I'm like, you know what, I'm going to see how it plays out. First, we see her, Cisco, and Ralph go to an art show where Camilla, Cisco's girlfriend, is showing her photography. And then we see Killer Frost going around like roasting all these people's art. And then if you look in the background, you can see some of the artists turning and looking at her like, what are you saying? And again, I understand as an artist, I'm like, yeah, if someone was sitting there like roasting my work right in front of me, I would feel some type of way, which Camilla does. But then we do see over time, she kind of realizes what the purpose of art is and how it's like a way to express yourself, which she clearly needs because she's been bottled up inside Caitlyn for so long. So she really needs a way to, like, you know, express herself. So at first, I was like, I don't know if I really feel this story, but then how it ended, I thought was really nice because you see Killer Frost grow to appreciate art and kind of begin to be her own person, which she kind of was already, but we'll see where that goes. And then a really funny thing I thought about this storyline was how Caitlyn, or Killer Frost, they're kind of interchangeable, but I'll say Killer Frost. So Killer Frost, she buys art from the exact same show in the beginning, and then she puts them up right over the screens in the lab. I thought that was a really weird placement. I don't know why no one else said anything about it, but then it did lead to this nice moment where everybody was sitting there appreciating this art, and we see everybody else smiling and laughing, but then on the side you see Barry sitting in his bed because he got injured trying to time travel, right? And while everybody else is smiling and laughing, you see him kind of stop and like, oh wait, this is not gonna last long. So I am excited for where this is leading, and I'm really looking forward to where this season is gonna go. I thought this was a pretty good episode. I would definitely rewatch it, and I definitely recommend you check it out. So, have you seen The Flash? Have you seen this week's episode of The Flash? What did you think? Let me know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.